Welcome to the Board of Trustees, Village of Buchanan Board of Trustees regular meeting of Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with Chapter 1 of the laws of 2022. This evening, after the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to take a moment of silence for Sergeant Mike Guida. And so Mike Guida was a sergeant here in the village, and many of us know him, and we fondly called him Guida. And Mike was always willing to lend a helping hand to anyone. He had a great sense of humor and enjoyed making people laugh. I remember several of the meetings, several of the St. Patrick's Day committee parties, and Mike was the MC, and he was a stand-up comedian, and he really had us just cracking up the whole time. So thank you, Mike, for your 27 years of service to the Village of Buchanan, and you will be missed. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United
States of America,
and to the
republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Okay, thank you, everyone. It's here. Trustee Capicotti will be joining us shortly. First on our agenda is the approval of the minutes, December 7th, 2021 board meeting. Do we have any additions, comments?
I have nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
I have one comment. On the bottom of the first page, where the comments from the floor, that says in the middle of the paragraph, it says, Dan posted a question. And when we had people in live meetings, we would get their first and last name. And I'm just wondering, did we not get this person's name, full name? Should we not, when people participate in the meeting by asking questions or raising their hand or being part of the chat, should we not be getting their full name?
Yeah, that's a good question. He was in the chat. What I'll do from now on, we should ask him for the full name. You're absolutely correct. We'll do that in the future.
All right.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So on a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
On a question? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so next is the December 28th, 2021 workshop meeting. Anything on that one?
I have nothing.
All good here.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
All righty, on a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good, thank you. Next is comments from the floor, agenda items only.
Okay, I just want to repeat for the general public. If anybody wants to make a comment, please raise their hand. By moving the mouse, you'll see at the bottom of the screen, raise hand. At that point, the mayor will recognize you. I will allow you to speak, and you can unmute yourself and also show your video if you like. So at this point, anybody wants to speak and raise their hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus.
No hands raised, Mayor.
Okay, so we can move on. Okay, so under new business, we have been discussing this for a while now. And I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing authorizing adoption of a local law amending Chapter 181 entitled Taxation of the Code of the Village of Buchanan to add an exemption for the members of volunteer fire departments and ambulance corps.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so this is basically what this is, an exemption of 10% of the assessed value of residential property owned by eligible persons or an eligible person and his or her spouse with respect to village taxes. So we've discussed the different parts of it. They have to be residents in the village of Buchanan. The property is located in the village of Buchanan. The property is used exclusively for residential purposes. So this is, really to help our volunteers. We really rely on our volunteers in this area. They do a lot for us in the middle of the night while we're still in a warm bed. They're out there helping people, whether it's a fire, an accident, mutual aid, so we're grateful for our volunteers. So this is just something to thank them. And like I said, we've discussed it. And this will also, so everyone knows, this will also be on the ballot election day in March. So does anyone have any, I know we've talked about it several months now. Does anybody else have any other comments in reference to this?
I think the public should go first. Is there anybody in the public? No?
No
Okay.
hands raised, no hands raised.
No hands raised? Okay.
Well, I think it's not a huge amount of money and it's money well spent. I fully support this. Just curious if we got an estimated cost, what this would be on an annual basis.
I sent an email out there. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I did send an email a couple of days ago
Oh,
with the
okay. I'm
amount.
sorry. I got.
I'm sorry. I'm
The
sorry. I don't have
email,
it.
if I remember correctly, the email stated it was approximately $3,700 per year.
Yep, you got it,
Yeah.
Sean. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, it wasn't a large amount.
Right. Money well spent. Okay.
Okay. So no comments from the public, no hands raised. So on a motion to close the public hearing?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now is the resolution to adopt local law number 2. So whereas a motion was duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan for a public hearing to be held by said village board of the municipal building, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, or by Zoom, is which we're doing this evening, to hear all interested parties on a proposed local law to amend Chapter 181 entitled Taxation of the Code of the Village of Buchanan, to add an exemption for members of volunteer fire departments and ambulance corps. Whereas notice of said public hearing was duly advertised in the official local newspaper, and whereas said public hearing was duly held at a regularly scheduled meeting of the village board on January 4th, 2022 at 7:30. And it's on Zoom, but it says here at the municipal building, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, New York, and continued at the regularly scheduled meeting of the village board on February 1st, 2022, or by Zoom. And all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on behalf of or in opposition to said proposed local law or any part thereof. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan, after due deliberation, finds it in the best interest of the Village of Buchanan to adopt said local law. Now be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan hereby adopts said local law number 2-2022, amending Chapter 181 entitled Taxation to the Code of the Village of Buchanan. This resolution will appear on the ballot at the general election in March. Be it further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting, and if approved at the general election in March, in the local law book of the Village of Buchanan, and to give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of the State of New York. Can I have a motion?
So move.
Second,
Second.
on a question?
On a question, Mary. I
Sure.
just, there's a couple of things about this law. This really is envisioned by New York State when they passed that law, as well as with the fire departments, to be used as a recruitment tool. It is nice to be able to get something when you're a fireman, but it's really important that we show and that new members can actually obtain some type of tangible benefit other than just the self-satisfaction of being a volunteer, which is very, very satisfying. So I just want to let any prospective members or any new residents that come into the village to help out your community and to help keep your taxes low. We need men and women to join the fire department. There's a job for everybody. You don't have to go into a burning building. You don't have to cut somebody out of a car or do CPR. You can just help by directing traffic. There's a job for every single person who joins. And New York State had changed the laws many years ago where you can accrue points and you don't have to actually go into the structure. You have to participate in helping the community, when there's a million ways to do it. So the LoSAP points criteria was changed years ago to include every segment of the population, and anybody who makes those points for that number of years can get into the service awards program, which the service awards program is basically a retirement plan. For every year that you qualify, you'll get $20 per month per year. So you can get a maximum of $800 per month if you qualify for 40 years, which is a long time. And but that's the service awards program, and this tax exemption helps out also. So it's a recruitment tool. We'd like to make sure that everybody knows that they're able to come out and join the fire department. There's all different levels of training. They pay for everything. They'll pay for your training. They pay for your gear. They pay for your travel. They'll pay for everything, just if you were to come there and be a member and participate in this. And as you see, I am an active fireman. I am a member of the LoSAP. And since this legislation will directly financially benefit me, I'm going to abstain from this vote. But I am I'm definitely in favor of this. And if this law can help get one person in there for $3,000 a year, it's peanuts compared to the amount of time and energy that they can contribute and help our community. So I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Sure. Yeah, and the volunteers are so very important to our community. And, like I said, they come out, they help, they come out on the aided cases, if somebody has a medical emergency, they're here right away. So, we very much appreciate them. And I am an associate member for over 20 years. I will gain no benefit to this. I only have commercial properties here in the village. So I will be voting in favor of this. So on a motion, we did on a question, all in favor?
Aye.
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 One abstain.
All right, thank you. Okay, so Sean was just talking about the LoSAP points. So that's, we have here this evening, we have a list of the people who have qualified for that program, the service award program. And we have a total of 16 people that have qualified. So they have met the requirement, 50 points for the service award program as provided by the Village of Buchanan Fire Department.
If I may, Mayor, if the board does accept this tonight, the fire department will have to post it for 30 days. Sees any objection. If there's no objections, then this will be submitted to the administrator to process the point structure and then to calculate what actuary payments were going to be for the village. So it's not ending here. It has to go back to the fire department and then got to wait for 30 days.
It's posted 30 days. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I got just a note of explanation. The chart that was given to us, when we explain about points, the points are not on this chart, correct? Or am I reading this incorrectly?
No, the points aren't on there. It's just the fire department has a point system that's set up by the state and it has been approved by the fire department. And it encompasses a myriad of lists. This list was submitted by the chief after the tabulations took place at the fire department. And these are the names that they're submitting that says that these members have met the criteria set forth by the state and by the fire department. So the points are required. There are a certain percentage of points that you get for different things. There's a maximum number and a minimum number. The points that you get are for obviously attending structure fires, or I should say emergency calls, because there's a whole bunch of different kinds of emergency calls, for different types of training, for holding line officer positions, for holding business officer positions, for attending fundraising events, anything to do with the department, whether it's taking care of the buildings and grounds. Each one gets weighted a different way and gets different points. So the people who accumulate the minimum number of points are the names that are submitted to the village for LoSAP.
And just one other question, all the way over an accrued benefit, could just explain that? Because to the people in the public to know what that means?
The accrued benefit is what you would get today if you were to stop answering any calls or accruing any points when you go to retire. See, every year,
$300, is that a month or a week, year?
month.
A month, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, good. Thank you.
And this list is actually showing the people that met the requirement to get a point for the previous year. But even people that did not get a point for the previous year, it shows what their accrued benefit is from past years.
That is good. The accrued benefit is what you would get if you were to retire today. And you'll see the number of years of service, and it has in there when you became a member and when you entered into the plan. There's all, the reporting criteria has changed a little bit over the years. And the list has been culled, and the Village of Buchanan pays, Marcus, correct me if I'm wrong, the Village of Buchanan pays a yearly fee to the LoSAP insurance company based on the number of people that can potentially qualify. If you go to the budget, you'll see we're overfunded in that fund. I think it's like 200, 300%. So the department, in order to help keep down our costs, or the village's costs, have removed people from the list who haven't accrued in long time, and who have actually said, take me off the list. I'm not going to get any more points. So it helps keep down what our payments are, but still has the benefit to the people who can potentially accrue more points, more benefit. Is that the way you understand it, Marcus?
100% correct. Thank you.
Good. And this is something we do every year. We get the list, we approve the list, and so we're just doing it. It's the beginning of the year, and here we are. So on a motion to approve the volunteer firefighters that have met the required 50 points for the service award program as provided by the Village of Buchanan Fire Department.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And you guys notice I voted because I didn't get any points this year.
Okay, yep, we noticed that. We have the whole list. Yep. Okay, so our recreation supervisor, Nancy, is here. So Nancy, we discussed at the workshop, we talked about the increase in the summer camp fees, and I'm going to turn this over to you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy.
Okay. So
I'm sorry, Nat, before you begin, I just want to recognize that Anthony Capacati has just joined us. So
Okay.
everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Anthony.
Okay, so based on my findings, I would like to increase the salary line for camp an additional $15,000. This can be covered by increasing the resident rate by $30 for 6 weeks and $15 for a 3-week program, and by increasing the non-resident rate by $50 for a 6-week program and $25 for a 3-week program. Based on estimated numbers, which is basically an average between 2019 and 21, because we didn't have camp in 2020, that's based on 90 residents and 185 non-residents. And we should see a revenue of about $50,000, which would cover the cost. And with that revenue, we always can shove it off onto the pool a little bit. So that's that one. The question is, do you want to raise the resident rate? Do you not want to raise the resident rate? Do you want to, is the amount that I gave okay? Is it not okay?
Nancy, would you mind?
It's all right with me.
I think
find with
Nancy
what
has
you
said
have.
we're in line with other communities.
Yeah, we're even below other communities. Like I said, Town of Cortland for a 6-week program for their K through 4th grade is $1,030. Okay, so yeah. Yes, we are. And I do have some numbers here because I was asked what were my residents versus non-residents. So in 2021, because of COVID, we were limited on our numbers, but I had 45 residents and 148 non-residents in the camp. Then in 2019, I had 98 residents and 186 non-residents. Okay. I even broke it down into the districts that they come from. So, yeah.
And do you, the new numbers are a little bit different than what we talked about at the last workshop?
Well, I didn't give any numbers of how much of an increase for my salary line that I would want. So I had to figure that out.
No,
And
but
it
So
prompted,
Nancy, he's looking for what you asked, what is the
the
total
camp
cost?
fees.
The new camp fee, so they can consider that's what they
right,
want to
yeah, the
approve.
non-resident, I raised more. The resident, I was at the same, was $30. I think I said 25, but then I corrected myself.
Okay,
and it
so
was
What's the total,
so
what's the total number? What's the total number
Uh,
for resident and non-resident?
Oh, with the increase you're talking about,
Yes.
4,500 for the resident, if we, based on those numbers, and non-resident, 9,250.
So
No,
then
no,
you said
no, I'm sorry,
the actual per person.
per person's fee for resident and non-resident.
Oh, okay, so if we increase the resident rate from 520 to 550 for 6 weeks, okay? And the non-resident rate, the resident rate for 3 weeks was 285, raising that by $15, putting it at 300 for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
the non-resident rate was 820, and I'd like to increase that by 50, so that would make it 870.
Right.
And then the 3 week for a non-resident, I don't have that in front of me. I'm thinking it was something like
435
thank you.
last year.
435 with an increase of the $25 for the 3 week. Okay, there you go.
Oh, 25?
Yes, for
So that would
non-resident.
make it so that would make it from 435 to 460. Okay.
Right. Okay.
And
All right,
Nancy,
so
you're
it's-
still planning on doing an after-school program too, or,
Uh,
after camp program, I'm sorry.
After camp. To be honest, it depends upon if I can get the staff.
Okay.
Okay. I did call around, and just so you're aware, Town of Cortland is raising their rates for what they pay their counselors. They are bringing new senior counselors in at $12 an hour. Okay. So their other counselors always got a 50-cent raise. So their salary for a senior counselor is anywhere between $12 and probably $15. Okay. So that's what I was asking for. For my seniors was 12, for my juniors is 10, and my CITs who are 15, increasing it from 700 to 850, for the 6 weeks. So.
If I may also, if anybody remembers what happened last year with summer camp and the pools, it looks like across the entire county, everybody's going to be raising the fees, trying to encourage young people to
Oh
work.
my God. Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very tough to get enough people to do summer camp. And also the lifeguards, a lot of pools had to shut down because of lack of lifeguards too. So it's going to be interesting what happens this year.
It is.
I guess we got to stay
Very-
competitive with the rates, otherwise,
We do.
Yeah.
We absolutely do. And I feel that my counselors deserve it. They work hard. They work really hard.
Mhm.
And it's hot. And they don't go inside. There's no air conditioning. We're strictly an outdoor camp. It's a lot of work for them.
Yeah.
So as far as the aftercare, like I said, I would love to do that. Okay, but I really have to see what counselors I get and if anybody's interested in doing it.
Mhm.
I can always keep a list of my campers who are interested in it and then give them a deadline of by this date, I will know. But if we approve this tonight, next week, I want those flyers out. I want to get them out to the schools because I want to start registration the latest mid-March.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully we can go back to a normal lifestyle here and we can have a full camp too.
We can. Well, so far, the DOH has said we're planning on going back to 2019 protocols, with the exception of making COVID. We have to know what campers have their shots, what campers don't, same with staff. So I'm going to require on the application that they have to give me a copy of the proof of their COVID vaccine. Otherwise, they'll be considered non-vaccinated, which is okay. I can still mix pods and everything like that now. It's like measles. We have to know who has what.
Okay, so what's
All right.
the
Given
board's
the,
pleasure?
Given what we're going to have to pay for labor, and I think these are modest increases, I'm fine with it. I mean, It's unfortunate we have to raise rates, but
Mhm.
we have higher expenses, so I'm passing it on.
Mhm. Okay.
And every year the camp makes money. If you take out the pool, because the camp makes money. believe it was about 40,000 last year. Okay. And then I know it's been as high as 64 in years past.
Yeah.
Last year being smaller amounts, you would get a smaller revenue, but we always offset the pool with that. So, we really need to think about, okay, you can offset the pool, but we still can use it for camp because we really need it for camp.
Yeah. And the camp really does use the pool. They use it from
Yeah.
morning until 3 in the afternoon, something like that. So,
Yeah.
They do use it quite a bit. So part of that fee does go towards the pool too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Okay. So on a motion to increase the summer camp fees,
So moved.
second,
Second,
on a question? All in
We've,
favor?
we,
Oh,
we,
sorry.
we really
Okay.
do need to pay our workers a little bit more. It's very challenging to get quality workers, and obviously the people who are going to want to, who are the best, are going to work for the highest price. And with the labor
Yeah.
market the way it is, it's important that we come up and make sure we get enough people and the qualified people. So I've been in favor for this, and I am right now. So,
Okay,
Great.
good.
Thank you.
All in favor?
all right.
Aye.
aye.
So Nancy, you're still here. We got a few recreation things going on here.
Yep. Yes, we
So
do.
we're going to discuss setting the hours for the use of the ice skating rink.
Right. Okay, I recommend we stick to what we originally said, but we can adjust. We said Fridays 4 to 8, Saturday, Sunday 12 to 8, but we can adjust that however we really want. It doesn't have to be set in stone. We can say these are the hours that we're planning on being open. Check in, daily to, before you come to make sure we're open those hours. Okay, because I'm still looking for staff. I have one application.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, can I just say, I mean, if we get this thing up this spring for a period, it's an experiment.
It is.
And we'll start to get an idea of when people would want to come, what the popular times are, when people are not going to come.
Right.
Maybe they're just going to be coming constantly, but I think it's good if we, even though we're not going to have the full season there, if we have it open for even a month, that will at least get our feet wet, so to speak. I don't know how you get your feet wet on fake ice, but we'll see how it is as far as with our workers, as far as the hours it's used and everything else.
Okay, I think that I see that it'll probably be very good. I've already had inquiries, people asking me about it. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm leaning to have it open till April or through April. There's no reason we can't unless there's no
Yeah.
demand for it.
Absolutely.
And if I got the people who are willing to work it and people are willing to come and skate, great.
Yeah, I'm not a skater, so it kind of took me by surprise, but everyone I tell about this is
Yeah.
very excited about it.
Yep.
People are like psyched and looking for it. Yeah.
And I think in the fall, maybe we could open it up November, December, January, February, it depends. You're right, Nancy. It depends on the
Yeah.
interest, and we'll have a better idea of the interest after the first month.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
And
All right.
then-
I want to also just, Nancy, I know you do a great job with organizing this stuff. Thanks. But I also want to just thank the mayor, because while I was a little dumbfounded at first, this was her brainchild, and it's turning out to be a very popular idea with people. And I've talked for years about little things you do to create the community and to reinvent the community, to enrich a community. And this is a great thing. So I got to thank you for coming up with this idea. I never would have come up with that one, but thanks.
Thanks.
This is working out
I
great.
think
this
I'm
is working out
just,
great.
I'm still a kid at heart, and I just go back to the days of growing up here. And that
Right.
was one of the things, we had,
Right.
and we would skate
Absolutely.
for hours and
But
hours.
listen, if you're going to put skates on, could we please
Ah.
can we wrap you in bubble wrap
And
first?
bubble
We're gonna
wrap.
please?
have to. It's not gonna be this year, maybe next year. I still
wanna
have my
tell
original,
you-
my skates too, so that'll be a sight. Yes, it will.
I also want to throw out there that Bob Wheels has really been working on this. Okay. He's gotten a lot of things for this. So you can praise me all you want. He really deserves the hard work praise. Okay. Bobby, you really rock it.
Thanks, Bob. And
Okay,
I think it's in. I think the rink is in and it's going to be put together. When's it going to be put together, Bob?
Well, I'm actually going to start to put it together tomorrow.
Oh, great.
wow.
Okay. I told Marcus I'd like to get a few pictures of when you guys are putting it together. And I hear there's a few volunteers that might do the first skating on it too.
And we have a couple of people that might want to try it out.
Okay, all right. We got to see. That'll be fun.
That's terrific.
Yeah. So it's exciting. It's something new. It's something good for the families. It's something good for the kids. So it'll be a fun thing for the community.
Bob, what are you putting between the asphalt and the sheets?
Heavy plastic.
Heavy plastic? Like
They
3
recommend-
plastic
we
or
have,
something?
we have a level surface or a flat surface, I should say. It's not completely level, but it's a flat surface, and they recommend putting down the 6 mil plastic.
Oh,
Okay.
So
Just,
not
that's-
plywood?
No,
That's
not
good.
plywood.
Okay.
Plywood would be a different story, but we're pretty level there, or flat. And
Okay.
you know, we'll see how it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
the first time for us putting it together. I don't know how long it's going to take us, but we're going to work on it tomorrow. The weather's going to be warm, so.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty heavy. That's pretty
Thank
heavy plastic, 6 mil. That's pretty thick stuff.
Yes, and it's double sided, so that's why they recommend putting the plastic down to
Right.
keep it off the flat top directly.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
good idea.
And the other thing, Bob was nice enough. He found a good idea, rubber mats. So that way people can put on their skates on some rubber mats, and we got some pricing for that. It's about $1,000 to build the rubber mats across. I think Bob
Sure.
said on the 40-foot side, right, Bob? And then people can put their skates on there.
Yeah, we thought about putting it on the side where the gate would be, and the manufacturer recommends we put the gate on the shorter side. And that's
Yeah.
just to keep the skates off the blacktop as they're going onto the rink.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want any stones in people's skates and then they go on the ice. That's not going to work too good. All
Right.
right, good. No, thank you for getting those. Great.
Very good.
Okay, is everybody okay with the hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Well, Mayor,
Sure.
looking through the code and remembering some discussions that we had had in the past, our facilities are only supposed to be used from sunrise to sunset. Under the code, it's no person shall be permitted to remain, stop, or park within the confines of any village park between the hours of sunset and sunrise. So I remember we used to have a sign on there that said sunrise to sunset. I was down there the other day and there was a sign that said 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
I don't think our lighting is that good down there. And obviously in the winter time, the sun sets pretty quickly. So I don't know, the code really doesn't allow us to, by resolution, change that.
But what
So
about people who use the pavilion and there in the evening? We allow them to do it.
the gate's supposed to be locked in the evening. The gate's
No, I'm
supposed to be
talking
locked at
about people
sunset.
who rent the pavilion.
Yeah.
So we allow them to do it. We could change the code. I mean, okay, I can't say we. You guys could consider changing the code.
I wouldn't have a problem with changing the
I-
code. but-
I agree with, it's all trial and error at first, Sean. So maybe we could just see if the lights are going to be bright enough at like the 7-8 o'clock hour. And if not, then we adjust our times back. I'm okay with that. As long as,
And you know,
everybody's flexible.
if the code allowed us that leeway, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But you know, I just hate passing a resolution that basically supersedes our hours of operation that have been in our code for a long time. You know, if we had a caveat in there that said, or as per resolution of the board, have at it, but it doesn't say that. And I know we've had this discussion before about.
Okay, so what would it
using-
take to change that?
I remember we did change the, we were having some issues in some of the parks. There were people
Sure.
doing things in there that they shouldn't have been. So I remember changing the code to do sunrise to sunset because it was after hours when it was dark. We were having some issues. And so we did change that. But we could also set up a public hearing if the board would be interested in changing perhaps maybe just for the pavilion, to change the hours. I mean, that's something we could deal with in
I don't
March.
see why we don't just prepare a resolution and put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
To change the code?
Yeah, just to put an addendum on there to change the hours specifically for the skating rink. We could, if there's something we want to change in general, we can do that later. But right now, let's just put
would agree with
put a little addendum to the code saying that that the village can that the village board can by motion can change the hours for the ice skating rink.
That way we're not changing it for everything. only
However,
the
we
ice-
have to word it. Just let's put it in there, giving us the ability to regulate the hours on the skating rink outside of the parameters of what's currently in the code.
Okay.
That it
So-
would be specific to the pavilion.
So are we making a
Specifically
motion
for
to
the
have
ice
me,
skating.
are we making a
Go-
motion to have me pass a local law amending that section of the code? And if so, let me know the language that you want. And I can prepare that and give that to you.
Yeah. You think we could do that and have it on the, for the next month's meeting, for the early March meeting?
Well, you're supposed to have 30 days. I'm supposed to get it to you within 30 days, so count the days, but I can get it to you, tomorrow. If we're just, it's a local law amending, but you have to be pretty specific and let me know what you want it to say.
Yeah.
Right, because I'd like to
Okay.
get the ice skating up and running as soon as possible.
All right, so why don't we, so then we're just gonna close it at 7 o'clock then? I mean. are we
Well,
gonna-
our code says sunset to sunrise.
So now I think sunset is 5:15 this time of the year.
Yeah,
And in reference to the lights, I know with the grant money that we got and that they will be working on, we've been waiting for this pavilion to get upgraded. So going forward, the lighting will be different in the pavilion.
So let
Once
me ask you a
again.
question. So based on this, maybe we're limited just to have ice skating on Saturdays up to 5:30 for now and until the board
No,
changes the code. I don't know what to say.
No, I think I would like it to run the times that we said, but like I said, we could put a sign up, flexible hours, pending upon lighting and staffing.
Well, we want to give people some type of parameters. I just don't want people to show up there and then find out it's, how to convey that message to the public. We want them to know.
Well, Sean, do you have the code section that you're referencing?
149 TAC 5 regulated activities under recreation.
Yeah, and it's which
Alpha. Alpha.
is it the first section there?
Yeah.
No person should be permitted to remain or stop park within the confines of a village park between the hours of 11 p.m. and sunrise.
No, that doesn't say that. Not 11 p.m. No, it says.
That's what my book says.
Well, I just downloaded this off the village website 2 days ago.
I think there's two sections, Nick. I think there's another
The code
one.
was actually amended in 2021, so
Yes.
you have to go to the one that's directly online because the code
All right,
book is
so
not up to date.
So there's another thing. We need to, you don't have to get into this now, but we need a mechanism whenever we change the code to make sure that everybody gets the updated page.
Yeah, I just
right,
go to the
'cause I-
website and print them out.
I've been on the website and I have found a couple of things in my book that were not the current code. And so we need some kind of markers. I'm just addressing this to you, I guess. We need to figure out a mechanism that automatically gets that page to other people.
And we used to have a sign on the pavilion that said park closes at dusk. But that was been removed. It says 7 p to 7 a to 7 p. I'm sorry about, I just said, I'd hate if the lights weren't good and somebody get hurt and then the lawyer comes back and says, hey, you guys violated your code. And, if we want to change the code, we change the rule. That's fine and dandy. You know what I mean?
Okay, so if we want to stay in the confines of the code for this next month until the next meeting, then sunset, like I said, is 5:15. Well, every day it's a little, could be up to 5:30 coming shortly. So I guess for this next month, and then we can gauge the interest at that point also. If we want to, stick with the code and then we can make some changes, a public hearing in March. And then
Mayor,
we go from there.
I'm only one vote, Mayor. If you guys really want this, guys
Well,
can vote for,
you know, of course we want it. You know, we're all getting really good feedback. People are excited and they can't wait. But then the same token, you know, I don't think anybody wants to be accused of breaking the code intentionally or doing anything, you know, that we shouldn't be doing. I would like to open this up for the kids. But, you know, if the board feels that, you know, for this month, maybe we'll stick with the code and then we can change the hours in March. So I know Nancy had said maybe perhaps we can continue it into April also.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's up to the board.
I got a hand raised, Mayor. I don't know
Sure.
if you wanted to address that now, continue your
Yeah, sure.
discussion. Just want to throw
yeah.
that out there.
Definitely, no problem.
All right, I'm gonna let that person speak, Laura.
Laura who?
Well,
Okay, Laura, you can unmute. There you go.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mhm.
So,
yes,
so I was just curious. Is this ice skating rink going to be opened? It didn't seem clear if it's just to residents or outsiders. Outside the village will be permitted to use it.
Right now, I think we can only allow, and that's something we're going to discuss in the next section,
Yeah.
Mhm.
with the next comments. But right now,
I think-
we're working on the
but
hours.
residents can bring guests. If you're accompanied with a village resident can bring guests. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that is true
Yeah.
according to the
Mhm.
code,
Right.
correct, Nick?
Okay,
That's
so-
under section 149, type 4 use and regulation. That's on the next, that's the next agenda,
that's-
actually.
Put it on the agenda.
So there'll be a capacity as well for limit how many people can be
yes,
permitted,
Mhm.
along with
Yes.
how many staff will be, if they're
there has to be,
how many
yeah.
staff, right?
there has to be, yes. I
Is
mean,
there
you
gonna be
can't
any fees? It just feels like this was, advertised this, okay, it sounds like a good idea, I guess. But
Yeah.
is there gonna be fees? I mean, how are we paying $18 an hour? Or where's that? all that money
Right. Well, good questions, Laura. We did discuss this last time, and I think what we're probably gonna have is a short season now where we try to get a better sense of what we need to do for the future seasons where it's a full season. And perhaps it'll be, maybe there will be a fee for non-residents. Maybe we have to calculate some numbers on this. But we did discuss that at the last meeting. I'm not sure right now, are we looking to open it without charging a fee? Is that our intention for this short period?
Yes.
That was my
Mhm.
understanding.
Yes.
Okay.
We have the money in the recreation fund, so there is money in there to cover some fees.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think I had anything else, but the picnic tables. What's going to happen every time it's used? Where are the picnic tables going to go? I just was curious.
Mhm. We're
Because they're
not,
right now in there still, aren't they?
Right,
Yeah.
we will be using the picnic tables as also part of where the children or adults will be putting on their ice skates. We talked about the rubber mat. So the rubber mat will line around the picnic tables, and that's where the people will, not all of the picnic tables, but some of them will sit to put on their shoes, because you need a bench to do that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Definitely.
some of the picnic tables will be used for that. The others will just be at the other end.
So it's gonna fit. So it's big enough. So nothing's really changing about the way. Okay. I was just curious because I thought that we'd have to move that out. I didn't know how big or small this rink is.
It's 40 by 60.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Luckily, skating season and picnic season don't overlap, so the tables will just be moved as however they need to move the tables, they will be moving.
Okay. So this is just a trial because it gets, dark a little later now, I noticed, so even at 5:15, 5:30, it's, there's hardly any light, but there will be lights in there. That's
Yes,
mm-hmm. For safety and
yeah. Did anyone know, there was a picture that Marcus forwarded to us of it might have been the facility in Elmsford, and they had like those
Yeah,
those
that was New
strings of
Jersey.
lights hanging.
I love that
which,
idea.
You know, like they have at outdoor dining places.
Yep,
And,
yep.
and it really looked great and might be a simple solution if we do need more light.
Yeah, I recommended having those. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, very
And it makes it
festive
pretty.
looking.
Yeah.
And then we need skating music, some Strauss waltzes.
Oh, gosh. I don't think the kids will skate for that, honestly. But there's another section of the code. Okay, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
149-5A says
Yep.
with special permission of the Board of Trustees.
Right. I was just
So
looking at
since
that,
this is a
Teresa. Thank
village
you.
event,
Thank you.
possibly. Thank you, Laura. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
So.
Which
the
one
village
was
board
that,
can make
Mayor?
a
I'm sorry.
decision. It's whoops, sorry. Hold on.
Right.
149-5A.
The same section you just referred to, Sean.
Okay.
It says that sunrise to sunset.
Oh, it says in.
May I, Teresa, may I read that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says in.
May I read that for
case of an
everybody?
emergency.
Okay, let me continue reading that. The hours of no person shall be permitted to remain, stop, or park within the confines of any village park between the hours of sunrise and sunset, prevailing local time in the village of Buchanan, except in an emergency or by village authorized permit or with special permission of the Board of Trustees. So it seems to me that we have the ability to give special permission, and that's right there in the code. So
Okay.
I give my fifth of the vote for special permission.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
All right, and then we can adjust, we're, like I said, right now, this is kind of, we're looking to see the interest so that we can gauge where we go forward with this. So, is there anything we
right.
have to do? Special permission, it's in the code, so.
Sorry about
okay.
that.
That's all right.
I interpreted that a little bit differently where it said an emergency, but reading it the way Nick read it, that's, I can.
But yeah, that gives you a little bit, that gives us a way out. And I don't think special permission involves any particular, there's no specified procedure or paperwork or
That's fine.
anything. I think we just have
Stephanie,
to
would we
agree.
have to make a
Resolution.
motion to specifically say with special permission, the skating rink can be open until 8 p.m.?
Well, I think it's right there. If we make this motion, we make a motion to set the hours according to the ones that Nancy read. We make that motion and there's our special permission. Isn't
Yeah.
Uh,
that special?
I agree, Nick.
Just wanted to check. All right, so.
Well, Sean, as somebody once said to me, you've been with the village all these years and you don't know what the code says.
I did. I interpreted where it said emergency
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
because it says
Alright.
emergency in the beginning of the sentence there, Nick.
okay.
There's a lot of words there, Sean, but that's what you threw in my face last time. So I'm just returning the favor.
You're not a problem, Nick.
Okay, so on a motion to set the hours for the use of the ice skating rink. So Friday, it will be from 4 to 8. Saturdays and Sundays, it will be from 12 to 8. Correct, Nancy?
Yes, assuming we have staffing, yes.
Okay, and then you can always call me on speed dial. I'm always home, so.
Okay. So I'll need you Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from.
I better bring a lunch, huh?
And
Um,
some
moved.
hand warmers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hand warmers.
You made a
So moved.
motion.
Second?
You-
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we're going on to determine residency requirements for using the ice skating rink, and children 11 and under must be supervised by an adult 18 years of age or older. So Nancy.
Okay. That's what I have put for the pool. Okay, in order for children to attend, 11 and under have to be with an adult. An adult is 18 years of age and older, not 16. A 16-year-old is not going to come in and watch an 11, 10, 8, 7-year-old. They're going to be chatting on their phone or doing something else. And I feel very, very strongly about that. 12 and up, As long as everybody's got those waivers signed, I think we're good with that. That's what it is at the pool as well. So that's what I recommend. You let me know.
So Nancy, the waivers, you're going to want everyone to sign a waiver. Do you have
Absolutely.
the waiver? Okay. Do you have the waiver already?
Marcus has it.
Okay. All right. It's similar to the one at the pool, you said.
No, the ages are similar to the one at the pool, but yes, we have a
Okay.
waiver at the pool as well.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Actually, we
think
don't have a
skipped an
waiver at the
item,
pool.
Mayor.
Excuse me.
Sure.
We don't have a waiver at the pool. But
Okay.
when they come to the pool, we hand out our policies. The rules of the pool, basically, is what they're called.
Okay.
So, I could always do a rule of the skating rink and everybody can have a physical one as well. But yes, they have to have a waiver. That's what we had discussed. Marcus has worked on a waiver. It looks great. So go for it,
Okay.
Marcus.
And then we're going to have a sign that's going to be posted with the rules of the skating rink and, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Bobby has also ordered that or
I
is
sent-
about to order that.
Well, I sent that over to the board. There were some questions in the rules and regulations, some of the items you're discussing tonight. So we didn't order the signs yet to make sure the board was okay with all the rules and regulations, which included some of the things we're talking about tonight. And then the
Okay.
waiver, we actually got a copy of a waiver from another municipality, so that's ready to go as well. So as soon as the board gets everything done tonight, we could get the ball rolling first thing tomorrow.
Okay. All right. All right. So,
I think
supervisor.
you skipped the item, Mayor. I'm sorry. I think we
Oh,
were
did I
supposed to be
skip
talking
something?
about F. We're talking about residency requirements.
Right, yeah, I just read
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
residency requirements, and then the supervision of children under 11. So the residency
Okay.
requirements is
So
something.
11 and under.
11 and under, I'm sorry. Must be
Right, but-
supervised by an adult, 18
Right,
years of
But
age.
I know in the code book, it says by a 16 or older. I don't want 16 or older. I want
No,
18 and older.
the-
That
the
is an
code-
adult, not 16.
The code says we can change it as determined by resolution of the Board of Trustees. So we could say whatever we want for ages.
Okay,
It's
that'd be
right
great.
there in B. Right, Nick?
Okay, and do you guys agree with that though, being?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think 18 is a good age.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay. So residency requirements, is that what the next question you're asking, Sean?
Okay.
Yeah, because it says the use of recreational facilities shall be restricted to residents of the village, guests of the residents of the village, staff members,
Right.
and recreation activities co-sponsored by other organizations and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
So on that, a couple years ago, I had asked the board if we could, like at the pool, I'm using the pool as a reference. When I first started 12 years ago, it was residents only. And in order for a non-resident to come, they had to be sponsored by a resident or to get a pool pass. Then it was that a non-resident come only with a resident. A couple years ago, we switched that to non-residents can come because they, number one, pay a higher fee. And number two, we can always kick them out. And we can always do that to anyone. But I have found over the last 12 years that we don't have as many or as much of a rowdy crowd as we used to. I really got that under wraps. I think that's very important to note. I think we should allow non-residents in without having to attend with a resident, because you'll get more usage. And even if we charge non-residents, which I'm fine with, you'll get more revenue, more usage of it. I don't think you're going to have a lot of straight up just residents. All these kids have friends who live in Verplank, who live in Montrose, who live in Cortland Manor, Croton, and they want them to come. Do they have to come with a resident? My personal opinion is no, but it's up to you guys.
I just want to make sure that, there's capacity for our residents too.
Right.
I understand, I get both ways here.
I think with the skating rink, perhaps we can go ahead and follow that particular rule to start,
Mhm.
but not with the pool.
Right. This
We
is
have to
our
worry about-
experimental, this is our experimental season.
I don't think this was originally supposed to be a moneymaker, was it? I mean,
No,
No.
you-
no. Mm-mm. It was just an additional recreation event.
Service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if in the future, if we charge fees enough, I mean, I'd be open to charging enough of a fee to cover the cost of the labor that it takes to operate this.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to do it for the short season this year, but I think I would be open to that in future seasons. And we'll, when we get a better idea of how the interest and the amount of usage is. Can I ask another question? Can the vendor of this rink, is there some criteria that we can establish that the maximum number of people at any given time on that 40 by 60 rink is 20 or 40 or 50 or whatever it is?
A good question, Nick. Yeah, based on the 40, based on the size, the manufacturer said that his capacity maximum would be 50. That's his recommendation. Of course, the board can, or Nancy can limit that if you wanted to. I don't know if 50 is too big, too much. I don't know what 50 people look at on the ice skating rink,
So
but we can monitor it.
right. So the thing is, you could have 50 people on there. That doesn't mean you can't have 100 people in the pavilion. But
Correct,
how do
yeah.
you regulate that? You can't have, when there's 50 on, even if you're there, you can't be just jumping on and suddenly there's 80 people. So do you just limit 50 people coming into the pavilion, or do you allow the first 50 and then, I mean, because everybody's
I
not
don't
going to
think
be
we're gonna
on.
really have to worry
think-
about that, but
yeah.
I think the way you guys are thinking about it, that limited to residents only, with a visitor that's with a resident, you can monitor it. Like I said, we have limited hours, and then you with the Nancy can report back to the board, and tell you how it's going, and we can go
Yeah.
from there, and then we can control it more next year.
So right back to the same idea. This is our experimental season.
so are we limiting it just to residents and guests of residents, or what?
Test your residents this year.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
residents with
And
guests,
guests.
Right.
but not non-residents on their own.
Right, got it.
Is that what everybody thinks? Or-
yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
for now, and then, thinking in the future, I'm just throwing this out.
Yeah.
You never know, you might
Yeah,
have
I mean,
a hockey
kid-
team that wants to come in or something,
Sure.
and they just,
Well,
if the board
that's
would like
another-
at that point, they can pay a
That's
fee.
another story, sure.
There's
possibility.
just different options. Also, this doesn't cover the full pavilion. So the beauty of this is that you can add panels onto it. So if you need to enlarge it, it's something that the board could consider going forward. But like I said, let's see what the interest is on this. And,
Yeah.
we have a lot of new families here in the village, a lot of new people with young families. So I think this
Yeah.
will get pretty much used.
Yeah, let's get more and do like a mile long by 4 foot wide track all the way the length of Tate Avenue. And then we could have skating from Kings Ferry to the Circle.
There you go. And years ago, and I'm not going to date myself, but there was a Buchanan resident who was a speed skater, and he was in trials for the Olympics. So we always used to
Wow.
enjoy watching him go around, and it was,
Yeah.
but it was very interesting.
That's
So,
great.
yep. I want to see some professional skaters out of this. So on a motion, we're going to continue the residency requirements according to the code for the ice skating rink. And we're going to, and Nancy, please put that on the sign that children 11 and under must be supervised by an adult 18 years of age or older.
Okay, I think we had that on the sign. Did we have that?
Yeah, that's already on there. That's already on there.
Yeah, that's on there. Okay.
So
So
on a
moved.
motion,
So
second?
moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, on a question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next is to hire part-time employees for the ice skating rink. We have $18 an hour. Nancy, you said there's one person right now that's interested. Maybe once this opens up, where have we advertised this? We've advertised this on Facebook. We've advertised this on the village. Where have we put this out to advertise?
In the newsletter.
In the newsletter?
Yeah, it was in the newsletter, the website, Facebook, and email blast.
Okay.
What
Did
about
you
at the high
do-
school?
Now, I haven't put anything out there, but when I'm back in on Thursday, I can call and ask them to do that. I have flyers. I only have a couple. I could put one up in Kohl's. I could do local areas to put flyers for attendees wanted up as well. So I can see if I can do that at the school with the guidance counselors. I'm sure I can't. I don't see why not.
Hen Hud doesn't have a hockey team, does it?
No.
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 I don't know, actually.
I don't think so.
I don't know that answer. I don't think so.
They have a combined hockey team.
Oh, okay. Who are they
What does that
combined
mean?
with?
What's that, Bob?
They combine with a few other schools.
Sort of like
Okay.
Well,
Croton,
let's,
they combine
let's
with
read-
probably
let's-
Croton and Peekskill.
Yeah, reach out to them, to that coach.
We'll
Okay.
see. Like we said, we discussed, this is, experimental right now. We'll see the interest and then, we can make decisions, going forward off of what happens here the next
Yeah,
couple of months.
Yeah, of course. Nancy, is there an age requirement for the skating
18.
rink attendees? 18?
18.
Oh, so then.
Yeah, so
Unless
that-
you might, well, you might get a
Yeah,
senior. A
senior.
lot of seniors, some seniors have turned 18 by now.
Right, yeah, we could do
Many
that.
seniors, probably.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nancy, do you have a contingency plan in case this one individual can't come in for a day or something? What happens
Well,
then?
I'm not expecting them to work for all those hours. The people we hire are gonna say, I can work this, this, and this, and we have to
Oh,
work
okay.
around that.
Yeah.
I got you.
I'm not
I'm
hiring
sorry.
somebody to work a straight up 20 hours for 3 days.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
you.
And it
The
takes up
That's why
all
we
contingency
need
plan is
multiple
she
people.
Okay.
the contingency is she calls Teresa to go down there and watch.
That's
over
it. Here I come.
If I can ask a question,
Sure.
good, my question is, are we planning on having two attendants there at a time?
That's the goal, yes.
Someone
at a
on
time.
someone on the rink and someone checking people?
Right.
Well,
Want someone checking them in, somebody watching the rink.
I don't know. I thought one could be right by the rink and could watch, and that was my thought.
Nope,
I
I
don't know.
disagree with
It
that.
depends how many people are come there too. I mean, if you have 3 or 4 people, do
I
you
think you
really
need-
need people?
You need
know?
2 people minimum, 2 people on, because you need to, for security reasons, all right, for safety reasons. I would never, ever want to work alone. I would never, ever ask any of my counselors or my lifeguards to
Yeah.
ever work alone. They're not allowed to. End of story.
I think,
That just
I think
doubled
it
the
might
operating
actually-
cost
Yeah,
from $1,400 a month to almost $3,000 a month.
yeah. That's why I was looking at one monitor there.
We just had 2 public hearings, a resolution and a bond referendum for $3,700 a year. And now we're gonna spend $3,000 a month on a monitor. I don't know.
All right, well,
Much.
my suggestion is, since this year is an experiment, let's cover that out of the rec fund for this spring and work on what the fees would have to be next year to cover it.
Would agree with that.
I guess I'm
Well,
gonna
how
be
does that-
spending some
how does
time at
that
the
sound?
skating rink. That's okay.
Or take it out of a contingency somewhere, but let's cover it for the short season. It won't be that bad. Let's cover it and then we could figure out if we need to charge, whatever, a $5 non-resident fee and a $3 resident fee. I mean, or else,
Okay.
let's see how it goes.
Yep.
But let's cover it for this year while we're figuring it out.
So Marcus, how much extra is in that line?
If we look at the recreation line, especially with the summer camp fees and everything that we're talking about, the village does make profit between the recreation that can cover this cost. And there's also money in expenses that for repairs that we haven't used yet. So, and then we also have contingency. So if we get to a point that we get close to over budget on any of these lines, which in case we do, I would come back to the board and we can transfer money out of contingency.
All right. Look for some volunteers.
I'll ask the seniors.
Mhm. As long as you have somewhat of a little warm spot for them. I don't know, Bob, if we could build like a little warming box or something for whoever. I mean, it's not going to be as bad going forward. We're going to have some cold days, but this past week was really tough. It was, week and a half. It was nasty, nasty
Well,
cold.
that
So,
and wind shelter,
yeah, yeah.
need wind shelter.
All right, something to think about.
Yeah, we could also just have like Sarah goes, next year we could have, if it's, below 10 degrees, we close it or something. I don't know. In Minnesota, they deal with that all the time. I don't know. So,
Yeah, well, we're spoiled here, so.
yeah.
Okay, so going back, is everyone okay with the $18 an hour fee for a part-time employee?
Yes, I am.
Minimum
I
wage
am.
is 15, right?
Yes,
Around 15? Okay,
that is.
Yes, that's right.
okay. Thanks, Cindy. So, okay, so on a motion to hire a part-time employee for the ice skating rink at $18 an hour.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
on a question?
My question, Mary, you said it, hire an employee. We're gonna be hiring multiple employees. And it's gonna be postulated
Right, for 2 at a time.
at 2 at a time for $36 an hour.
Yep.
All right, I will make myself available as much as possible. If I could get on my skates, I would be more than happy to be there, but I
Don't
will
get
make
cocky.
myself
Don't get
available.
cocky. No skates this year, please.
No,
No skates for you.
no, no.
No, Sean Mary's correct. Do the board want to approve hiring employees for $18 an hour? We need to make sure that's clear.
Well, even
That's
if
what
we
the-
had one there, somebody's not going to work Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 8 and then Friday night from 4 to 8. So we would have to hire more than one employee anyhow, because, I can't see somebody spending their whole weekend there and a Friday night.
I would like
Right.
to hire 4, at least 4, so they could split the shifts.
Yeah.
Some people are only interested probably in like 4-hour shifts. So, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay. Okay.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
The people who we're gonna hire, should we make it a condition of employment that they know how to skate?
No, because you don't need to. You can wear your socks on the skate rink.
All right,
Because you don't want them
You
in,
can-
you don't want them in skates, number one, because if there is an emergency and they have to go out onto the ice, they
You
could
can, go-
throw their shoes off and go quicker than they can throwing a pair of skates on and or skating over there, which may end up being a little bit more clumsy.
can you
Okay.
go on it with non-marring sneakers, like Keds or something? I don't know.
I don't think there's any shoes on
I don't think
the
there's any
rink.
shoes,
Yeah.
No
No
shoes.
shoes,
But
no
Okay.
socks,
shoes, no
you can wear
shoes.
socks. It's not
Yep.
cold. I mean, it's
Sure.
cold to the weather touch, but it's not ice. So, you can wear socks.
Okay.
They're recommending
Get
that you
some
can
bondage
actually
socks.
use the shoe boots.
You use what?
Use
Bob?
what?
You can get like the boots to put over your shoes.
Like booties that you can
The
slip
booties,
over.
That's
Booties
what I
would
had
be-
recommended.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I would recommend that. Like they wear in
Okay.
hospitals, right?
Yes.
Oh, the slipper socks, like,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me.
Oh, no,
let me,
they're like a booty that you put over your shoes, like you see the surgeons wear.
Yeah,
oh, I know what you're saying. Okay. All right. Now I understand. Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, so we did on a question, all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
All right, thank you. We'll work it out. Okay, the next are pretty standard. A motion to enter into agreement with Westchester County for the use of voting machines for the March 15, 2022 general election. We've discussed this. This is something we do every year. So on a motion,
So moved.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Okay, the next is similar, motion to appoint election inspectors, okay, for the March 15, 2022 general village elections. The pay schedule is chairman, $195 a day. The inspector is $180 a day. And the alternate inspector is $90 a day. So on a motion,
so moved.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The
Question,
next,
can I ask a question?
sure.
Did we already waive the residency requirement for the inspectors? Have we done that already?
Yes, we did.
Last,
We
yeah,
did that at the last meeting?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all.
Okay, the next is we have a request, and we discussed this at the workshop for the Empire Solar for solicitation permit. So I do have some information. I had asked Marcus if we could have a no solicitation list for this, for the residents in the village. We cannot. But what NICOM recommended is that if people don't want anyone coming to their door, knocking on their door for soliciting of anything, they could put a no trespassing sign up. And that person should, whoever's out soliciting should respect that. So the company is, I'll tell you what the company is. It's Empire Solar. They're looking to canvass the surrounding neighborhood to qualify homes to go solar. And they would like permission for 3 sales representatives to be approved to conducting business during the hours of 12 to 6. And that will be Monday through Saturday. It says here, not frequenting the area more than 2 times a week. So we've had a discussion on this. We cannot, it has something to do with the First Amendment. We cannot say no, that they can't, but we can kind of coordinate the hours that they can come through the village and do certain, you know, we can do a little framing of it when they come in and different things and the times and hours and days. And so, but that's about basically all we can do.
And Stephanie explained the last meeting, this is less hours this even in the village code. So they're actually requesting for less hours, and Stephanie explained that at the last meeting.
Yes, and when we approve their request, we are approving, excuse me, we are approving the hours in their letter.
Mhm.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. So on a motion,
So moved.
second,
Second,
on a question?
One
All in favor?
question,
No
how are we
question?
getting the word out to people that they can, that they can put themselves on a do not solicit list?
There's
can't.
no, yeah,
They
there's no, do
can't.
not
They
solicit.
cannot do that.
Yeah,
I
no.
thought we said last time that people can opt out and the vendor would be given the list of houses not to go to. We can't do
They
that.
just-
No.
Correct. That was a possibility. We were thinking about a possibility, but I checked with the state and they said absolutely not.
Let's check with a different state then.
It's kind of like the First Amendment. It covers all states, Nick, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's their constitutional right, so they say.
All right.
So, even though you're a property owner, people can come on your property unless you put a no trespassing sign up.
Okay.
So, okay, where did we leave off? On a
We're on,
question?
we're on the question, yes.
Okay, all in favor?
All right,
Aye.
All right.
Okay. The next is, and thank you for looking into this, Marcus. This is to enter into agreement with Tri-State EAP Services, Employee Assistance Program. And this is something that came out of our police committee that we had not too long ago. I know the chief is very hopeful that the board approves this. And what this does is this will cover all of our employees. So it's not just the police, it's also all of our employees. And their eligible dependents may obtain the EAP service. It has an on-call counselor 24/7. And the total for this, for all of our employees, will be $494. So I'll just tell you what they do. They provide individual case management to employees and their eligible dependents who are suffering from any behavioral health issues such as depression, anxiety, stress, relationship concerns, anger management, trauma, grief, financial concerns, substance abuse. And it just lists all these different things. So this is really a great benefit for our employees. And
Teresa, could I add just another thing that they do, which is many of the problems that people have is not just, psychological problems or things like that, or there are a lot of things that they do not, the individual person does not know whether that certain social services exist to help them with certain things. People can get depressed because, they don't have enough money to live on, or they don't have various other things. And an EAP person will be able to direct them in the right direction, give them the right phone numbers and things like that. It may not be that they even have to sit down with the person for, any length of time. It's just maybe a phone call that will put them in the right direction for social services, because most people don't realize all the social services that are available.
Right, so they could be a resource for these
Right.
people. And then,
Right.
it doesn't have to be the things that I listed. It could be like health issues, like,
Right,
sometimes
exactly. Right.
people get news and, it's, they have anxiety or questions or concerns and, All right, so on a motion to approve the agreement with Tri-State EAP Services for the Employee Assistance Program.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second,
Second.
question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next is a motion to accept the proposal from
Oops,
Capital
excuse me,
Markets.
Mayor,
Oh, I'm
excuse
so
me.
sorry, Cindy.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I spoke too soon. We did not do a motion to expand the residency requirement for election inspectors to come
Oh,
to the town of Cortland. My mistake. So can we add that in?
yes, you know what, Cindy, let us do it now. I just, I thought we had done it last month. I know
No,
we talked about
it
it.
was at a workshop. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So, and just add in what we need. I'd like to make a motion to approve, including in the residency requirements for the election, for the, hold
Election
on,
inspectors.
Inspector,
election inspectors to.
Town of
include-
Cortland residents.
Town of Cortland residents. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
So on a
moved.
motion?
So
Second,
moved.
all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
aye. Okay, thank you, Cindy. Okay, so there's a proposal from Capital Markets Advisors LLC for consulting services related to the American Rescue Plan. Marcus, I'm going to hand this one to you.
Sure, as we discussed, thank you, Mayor, as we discussed at the last workshop, the federal money, stimulus money that's provided to all the municipalities comes with a whole bunch, I don't want to say strings, but a whole bunch of reporting requirements that constantly tend to be changing. I'm a member to the Managers Association. A lot of managers got together and found to use this company to help us through that process. There's an annual reporting, there's quarterly reporting that has to be done to report this, how the money spent and how the money was spent, and have the reporting of the contractors that was spent, make sure they meet all federal requirements as well. So to make sure we protect the village, do it professionally, I'm recommending that we retain the services of Capital Markets to meet all the federal stimulus requirements that's come up with the release of these funds. So I'm hoping the board can approve that. There's the first deadline of the end of April to provide a whole bunch of reports to the federal government that has to be done by the end of April. So I'm hoping the board would approve this to make sure the village is protected.
And there's any cost involved with this, Marcus?
Yes, $3,500 for the first year. The second year is $2,500. And then after that, I believe all the money be spent. So it might be maybe $200 or $300 after that. We have to report for 5 years, even though the money might be all expended within 2 years.
It actually says in their proposal, 3,500 to do all the initial preparation, which is due April 2022. And then it says a cap of 2,500 on our fee for services performed in connection with the preparation of the village's subsequent annual reports. Is reporting required for 5 years?
The reporting is covered for 5 years, but my discussion with them, they're just throwing that a price not to exceed. And they're saying after the money is spent, it says reporting zero has been expended. So they say probably it'll take an hour or two to do the reporting. So that will raise $250. So they just pointed at a
Okay,
maximum.
but the way I
can
read
see.
the wording for that 2,500 is that will cover the five years of the subsequent annual reports.
Oh,
If
that's
that's
a good
something that is done briefly,
Mhm.
then $500 a year to file the follow-up report.
Yep.
Is the way I read this.
That makes sense. Absolutely. They
Yeah,
say there's going to be
yeah.
about an hour or 2 hours worth of work. Correct.
Yeah.
So yes, we're getting money, but everything has to be, nothing like, there's
Well-
nothing, no such thing as free money. So,
A lot of red tape with the federal money that we're getting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
We
when
don't wanna botch
and
it.
when until I gave you my report regarding the state grants we've got. So nothing's ever easy.
no, it's,
Yeah.
You know, you go for these grants and you think they just cut a check and they don't. There's
Yeah.
a lot of paperwork involved and a lot of patience.
Absolutely. And it's like, it comes out to about a 2.5 or 3% fee on the money. It's a lot of money, and that fee comes out to about 2.5, 3% of that money. So it's like having a financial advisor for a specific chore, you know, we don't want to botch it.
That's correct. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. And the money, did you mention the money was $227,000, $227,992 is what we'll be receiving from that money.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. Okay, I think, you know, Marcus, I know we had to add some things onto the agenda. So first we're gonna approve,
Mayor, we didn't vote on this or anything.
No, I know. So I handed it off to Marcus
Oh,
so
I'm
that,
sorry.
you know, that's okay. No, so we handed it off to Marcus so he could do the explanation of that since he's been working so closely with this. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the proposal from Capital Markets Advisors LLC to provide consulting services related to the American Rescue Plan.
So moved.
I'll move.
Second,
Second.
on a question?
I just forgot one thing, Marcus.
Okay.
I know we had discussed in the capital plan how to spend all of this money. Are we getting this in 2 separate increments, or are we getting it all in 1 increment?
That's correct, Sean. Good memory. We get it's the 227,992. It actually split in half, 50-50.
Okay,
So we get half of it this year and the other half next year.
okay,
Mhm.
cool, thanks.
Anytime. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Thank you. The next one, we had to add a few things onto the agenda this evening. One of the things that we're adding, and this has just been a long process. Everybody remembers that in Entergy's closure agreement with the state, they agreed to a $15 million fund. And that money was to be used for community and for environmental. When Entergy left the state the end of May, the state became, how shall I say, basically owners of the money, and it was up to them to determine how they were going to distribute it. So originally, the board had asked for, our engineer did something, it was 5.6 million. He figured out that's what we needed. There were 3 different levels, but the 5.6 million is what we needed to upgrade our sewer treatment plant. So it was, you know, we went right after that because it was important to upgrade our sewer treatment plant for our future. One of the other things I want everyone to know is that we had also put in, and I think the amount came to $800,000 or $900,000 to redo the parking lot over at Lens Cove. So that was not accepted, but that's okay. You know, we got the monies to upgrade our sewer treatment plant. So going through this whole process, I'm so excited about doing this. I can't tell you what a huge win this is for the village. There'll be no taxpayer dollars to upgrade this plant. But as the state went along, they set their own parameters, they set their own requirements. But I'm happy to say we were able to work something out with the town of Cortland. So it will be a win for the village, and also the town of Cortland will have be able to come into our sewer treatment plant and pay for the usage of the plant. So, and we will have the money to redo our plant, but not only that, we're looking going forward to putting in another, I call it a matray, but another tank. And we will probably be doing that next year. It's going to be, it would be impossible to get another tank without the town of Cortland going in with us. And we will be applying for more grants, joint grants to do that. So we have come to an agreement with all of this. The agreement is between the village, the town, and also New York State. And I just think for the future of this village, I think it's a huge win. So for future capacity, for future development, And I know over the last year, I know, Sean, you had wanted to know at several meetings, you had requested me to contact the county about turning the sewer treatment plant over to the county to make a transfer station out of it. And I remember you had asked me a couple times, and I'm just going to tell you this. I did speak to the county. I wasn't interested, and they're not interested in doing that. But and I remember at one of the meetings you asked me about, about that, and I had said to you, well, what if we can get it for free? Because the process had already started with the state about asking for money for the sewer treatment plant. So I'm just glad that we can get this money. Like I said, this plant, without this plant, if we made this a transfer station, we would be at the mercy of the county. And you see how Peekskill is developing and developing and developing. And if we get rid of our plant, we just make it a transfer station, the county can turn around and say to us at some point, hey, listen, we don't have any more capacity. So yeah, I know you want to develop, but no can do. So it's important. This is our largest asset, and this is one of the keys to our future here in the village. So I'm just overwhelmed that we can get this done, and I'm excited about this. So the town will, we're working on an IMA with them, but we have come to an agreement with this money, and we will be getting really a lot of money to make this happen. So finally, this has been back and forth, and Stephanie, the board, we had meetings with the supervisor Becker, and this has been back and forth, but we've come to a good agreement for the village. And I think this is a win. Would anybody else like to comment on before we make a motion to?
Yeah, I want to just thank everybody that did work on this. Stephanie did a lot of work in working with the town, and of course, Teresa. I want to thank the town for being good partners in this. The original conditions that came from the state were a little harsh, and the town was very agreeable to working with us. So some of the things we were concerned about, like not getting all our legal and engineering expenses covered by the grant money, have been corrected in this new agreement. It's a much improved agreement. Just I share the excitement for it. We're going to get the plant modernized and likely expanded, and it's going to benefit the business district for the town along 9A, but it can also benefit us along the 9A corridor. And it's all positive. We get new. It's an aging plant, like a lot of other infrastructure. It needs modernizing, and this is going to do it. So I thank everybody, and I share the excitement.
I'd like to piggyback on that, Nick. I agree. A lot of hard work went into it, our mayor and Stephanie, and it's a great win for the village. And I think it'll be an attractive thing to when the time comes for developments over by the river, that there's a sewer treatment plant that they can use and hook up with. And it'll be relatively brand new. So I think it's great. It's a great lot of work and a lot of people to thank. And I thank them all.
And our engineers also.
Yes.
And our engineer, right. You got it, yeah.
And then also, I know we've spoken about this before. We did apply this year in July for the WQIP grant, the water quality improvement. And the village was awarded $1.6 million with that also. So we're on our way.
I also wanted to thank everybody who worked on this. You are right, Mayor. I was looking for any kind of option that was available to us. The county had offered many years ago to turn us into a pumping station. They had 3 different options. They funded a study absolutely for free. And we were to communicate with the city of Peekskill instead of spending any money. As you know, when I did bring that back up when I first became elected, I was looking for different kinds of options to either include the town of Cortland and to help have them help us improve the plan so that they can take it in. I always will look for any option there is. That was just one option. I know it was kind of hard to get the information out. There was a lot of times you said that I'm working on something, but you really weren't very forthcoming on what you were working on. I would imagine that would be the energy, the state money, which I understand that negotiations are somewhat tenuous, but when there isn't a lot of information being given out, you have to go out and try and get it and come up with plans that would still suit the purpose and benefit the village. And that's what I was doing. And even before we got that money, I wanted to improve the plan and bring in the town of Cortland. So it's just good that we've been able to do that. And I look forward, I'm glad that Stephanie and the engineer have agreed to and worked on this and agreed that the terms and conditions will benefit us. But we have to remember that this is just the first step. The next step is actually working out the intermunicipal agreement, which is the second step, and that's where the nuts and bolts are. And that's where the gallonage, and that's where everything, all the terms and conditions, the monitoring stations, the liability, everything. So that's going to be really the hardest part. I'm glad the state was able to work with us. As you know, the deadline was originally in the middle of December, and then they brought it to January 4th. And I'm glad that they saw that we were negotiating in good faith and that they allowed us the time frame needed to work out something that was beneficial to both of us. But like I said, the devil's going to be in the details with the IMA. And if we can't work out the IMA by June, all this effort will be for nothing.
I think, honestly, I think what we've gone through with the negotiation back and forth, we are very close to an IMA. I mean, you know, we have talked about a monitoring pit. So there are some things that still have to be worked out, but I think this agreement was the hardest of all, and it kind of sets the terms a little bit going forward. But there are other things that we still have to work on with the IMA. And the reason why they want to cut it in the June timeframe, because they want us to be able to put in other grants for the next tank. So they're kind of, wanting to keep the process moving forward. And it's always good to go in for a grant with another community. It's easier to get it. It puts you higher on the level to get approved when, so if you're going by yourself, it's one thing, but if it's a joint application, it's just much better for getting approvals on it.
Absolutely. And
So-
there is some of the beginning of those terms are in this agreement. It's the capacity that the town will be allowed was included in this revised agreement. So that's part of what has to be worked out in the IMA, but I'm pretty confident that the village and town, especially with all the discussions we've had already, will be able to get this done.
I think so. We're working along.
It benefits both
pretty
of us, so
Sure.
we all have an interest in making it work.
Absolutely. And we've always been able to communicate and work well with the town. So, I'm sure going forward that will be the case.
I'd like,
Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Anthony, what did you say?
don't leave me out.
Oh, I'm sorry. What would you like to say?
I'd like to give some gratitude to you guys as well.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Well done. Looking forward to, you made me a promise that I could help with the construction of the plan. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think next month, I'd like whoever on the board would like to go over to, because you haven't been there. I think there's a lot of people that don't even know we have a sewer treatment plant, but the new term is wastewater plant. So I say sewer treatment plant, but so I'd like to have the engineer come one day where we could all go over, whoever wants to go over, and just kind of do it's not one of the better tours to do, okay, but it's one of our assets, and I think we all need to know what that looks like. I know going back in I remember 2010 there was a bond that was approved to upgrade the sewer treatment plant, and that didn't happen. But I remember oh my God, Nick, Rich and I would sit over there and listen to the different vendors, what's Fine Bubble, what's this, what's that. And going back into 2010, we were pretty versed of, the new technology and what that was, what it did and whatever it had, that goes back 12 years ago. So I don't remember all the details, but yeah. And
But
I
you
think
remember that it smelled.
yeah, I remember that. That's what I
Yep.
said. Maybe not one of the better tours to take, but
Well, listen,
you know,
better in February or March than in August.
yes, yes.
The one
Oh, yeah.
thing that I do remember about the small bubble diffusion mats was that the lifespan of those heads were only 10 years. So
Mhm.
even if we went to the new technology and installed all those new heads and all of that new equipment, we would be replacing it now.
Mhm. Or we would have been halfway paid with that
Yeah.
bond. So one way or the other, but I
Yeah.
don't know, Sean, I have to check on that. I'm not sure, like with the technology, if it's still 10 years. So,
Well, the
I mean,
heads themselves. So we would have had
Yes,
to drain the tanks,
yes.
pull the mats out, and redone all of the heads because they clog up the DO levels of
Yeah.
the types of head we had. The DO levels would have been down so low we wouldn't have been able to do anything. Right now with the manual aeration, we can adjust the dissolved oxygen level by doing the
I
different levels of the tanks, and that's why we rebuilt those fans.
I
So-
know, and you know what, the plant, in one way, the plan is running well. I mean, I have to give kudos to Todd Travis, who's our employee over there, and also for the company who's helping run our plant now. I mean, we're getting great reports, but we have to move on to the new technology,
Absolutely.
so. All right, so that's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing for the village.
Hey, Teresa,
Yes, ma'am.
just really quick, late this afternoon, the state responded up and agreed with this because we needed their permission, but I was working it out with the town first. But it's a non-substantive change on the first page at the last whereas. The last sentence, they wanted me to put the words including but not limited to the Hudson River. So I don't know who has this in front of them, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew
That's
about that. It's really, they want to give, some of this funding was to improve the Hudson River, to maintain the Hudson River, and so they added that language like at 5 o'clock. I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah.
And thank you all for your input in this. I'm not an engineer and I'm not a sewage treatment plant person, but the gallonage references and the percentage references helped.
Yeah.
And I think it helped with the town too,
Mhm.
because it sort of set us on a hey, and what Sean's talking about with the IMA,
Mhm.
that was my main concern, was that this all does go to nothing if we don't sign or get into an IMA by June. So I was trying to set some limits here before we got into that so that we weren't paying back legal fees, you understand. And so thank you all for that too, because it helped in the negotiations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our engineer, George Palmer, was, used Stephanie, of course, but, and George Palmer was very instrumental. And George has been running the plant. Oh my gosh, I don't remember. It's a bunch of years. So George is like an expert on that plant. So we had to rely on his expertise for a lot of these things. But yeah, so we're going to have George Palmer do our tour. So
Question then, has the town approved this yet?
The town has not yet approved it. We're first up, but they are going
Okay.
to. I mean, we
They, I
signed off
imagine
on
that
it.
They must have a meeting coming up.
Yep.
Shortly where they'll be approving it. So
Yes,
once they approve it, and we've approved it, how do we jump on this? Who will it be, the engineers and, what's the procedure going to be for following up and beginning the process of the IMA, intermunicipal agreement? Is there a plan on how we tackle it?
I mean, my plan with the town was we'd immediately begin meeting. We have,
Okay.
pursuant to this agreement, we can hire legal counsel if we so choose to help. The engineers will be involved, obviously.
mhm,
And we have to jump right in because June will be here before we know it.
yes.
Right. Okay. Okay, I just, obviously then we have to get it started right away, just,
Right away. Yep.
okay.
And Teresa, that's correct about George. I was on with George an awful lot. And he was extremely helpful and always made time to get back to me. In fact, when I did the 100,000 gallons per day and the other 25%, he called the DEC. So there was a lot of work that put into it to protect us just in case.
Right.
And so I feel really confident with it. And I think we're going to work the IMA out, and I think we're going to do it timely.
Yeah, I think so. I think, we're working well together, and like I said, it benefits both communities. So, yeah. So we're moving along here.
Okay,
So I'd like to
Onward.
make a motion to approve the money from, I don't know how else to say this, the Entergy Community and Environmental Fund of $7 million, and with an agreement with the town and the state of New York.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All right, thanks. And when do we put a shovel in the ground? That's exciting. Not for a while, right? Sorry, Anthony, you're gonna have to wait a little while yet.
That's all right. I got enough shovel to do tomorrow.
Okay, and one of the other things that we had on, I'd like to make a motion to have Ed Mevick added to the Board of Assessment Review, and his term will end in March of 2025. And a motion,
So moved.
second,
Second.
all in favor?
I have a question, Mayor.
Oh,
Is he
I'm
still,
sorry.
is
Yep,
he
go
still a
ahead.
member of the zoning board?
Yes, he's a member of the zoning board.
You're allowed to have two appointed positions?
You know what? We are having a hard time getting people to be on the assessment board. Stephanie, is it okay that there's two appointments?
I would have to research that.
Okay,
I mean, there are some conflicts. I'm not sure that these are two of them, but I'll look it up for you.
yeah, one is
Yeah.
he's on the zoning board. The assessment board is for the assessment rolls for the village taxes.
Well, I don't think there's a conflict. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if the law says whether you can hold two appointed positions within one municipality.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
and
know
that's
that
what
the
I'll look
code
up.
book says that trustees cannot also be on another board. I don't know that I'm not sure if there's anything prohibiting something like this, zoning board and an assessment review board.
I think
don't
there
know.
might be next, so let me look it up.
all
Okay,
right, so we're gonna have to hold off on this one.
Or we can make it contingent upon a
Yeah.
verification
could.
of no conflict.
Okay.
Yep. I
All
agree.
right.
Yeah.
So, and so let's add on in contingent of no conflict. So let's redo on a motion.
We did that in second.
Yeah, but I added something on.
okay, so
Okay.
a motion to
Second, all
appoint
in
Edward.
favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
Verification of no conflict of
Right.
any municipal law.
Yeah, I
No,
put on
no.
no conflict. Okay,
so moved.
all right. All in
Second.
favor? Aye, thank
Aye.
you.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you.
Again.
Okay, okay, the last one is, I have to do a resolution accepting the federal money that we spoke about before. We probably should have had them next to each other when we talked about the American Rescue Plan. Accepting the money for the American Rescue Plan, and the money will be used for manholes and for consultants to administer the plan.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
on a question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Okay. Aye, aye, aye. Okay, here we are. So, moving to information from officers and departments, the Justice Court Report, December 2021. We have one amount of $3,307. The next is $656. Police report, Rich, on your report, if you want to go over the police report, received and filed for December 2021.
Mhm.
Highway report, December 2021. Bulk pickup, 14.5 tons. Household trash, wow, 78, almost 79 tons. Let's see, e-waste, 8 TVs, 5 monitors. I just like to, tell people what's going on here. All right, thanks, Bob. The wastewater, 7,680,000 gallons. Sludge removed, 96,000 gallons. We have also the reports from the building department, permits issued, COs issued. Also planning board, November 18th, received and filed. Zoning board, December 8th. Nope, zoning board. Okay, planning board was November 18th. I apologize. 2021. The zoning board was December 9th, 2021. Buchanan Engine, their report, December 2021, 7 EMS assist and 6 other emergencies and 6 mutual aid given. We've also received the prosecutor's report for January of 2022. Stephanie Porteous, village attorney, do you have anything for us this evening?
I do not. I have one matter for executive session on negotiations, but nothing for public.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let's see, administrator's report. I know, Marcus, you said you had some things for us.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Just to give everybody an update, Route 9A sidewalks, the DOT has finally approved everything. So we're planning a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, the DOT, village engineer. We're trying to get that together by the end of this week or early next week. We have a pre-construction meeting, and Con Edison will be involved in that as well. So
Okay.
at least we're moving forward with that. When I get an update in regards to when the construction might begin, I'll let the board know.
okay, good.
Nexus to Pavilion, as everybody knows, the electrician had a health issue. We don't have an update on that yet, but the contractor has ordered materials. Give you an update. So the update is we're waiting for the materials to still come in. Then we have the Nick asked a question about the DEC application for the boat launch or kayak launch. George has submitted all the documentations to the DEC, waiting to hear back any comments. What the next steps are, that is going to move forward. I'll let you know if that goes any further. The gas replacement on Tate Avenue, due to the cold weather, Con Edison has really stopped work. They got it, according to them, the temperature has to be above 20 degrees for them to do any work. So they've had other work to done. They were doing in Westchester County because of the cold temperatures. That delayed that work. So Tate Avenue, that's delayed as well. As soon as I get a starting date, I'll let the board know where that's going through.
Okay,
So
good.
that's my update for tonight. If I have anybody has any questions, I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected sub-zero temperatures when they were initially supposed to start, but surprise, surprise. Okay, I am going to let the trustees go first. Nick Zachary, what do you have for us this evening?
Sorry, just had to unmute there. Let's see. Well, let's see, a couple of things. I think generally, there's been some challenging past few years, but I'm kind of excited right now to see what's going on. Some of these little things, not little, but the kayak dock, a new sidewalk on 9A, this skating rink, as well as some of these bigger things right now, like this sewer agreement and the funding, the grant funding we got for it. We're in the middle of these negotiations with Holtec on a new tax agreement, pilot agreement. It's actually kind of exciting. A lot going on right now.
Mhm.
I wanted to just say one thing. A rumor, must be a rumor circling around. It came back to me that people think that I want to dissolve the police department, and I wanted to correct that because it couldn't be farther from the truth. I don't know how these things get started sometimes, but we've been supporting this police department. People people hear things and misread them. I've always felt that the lead on whether we have our own police department is the residents. in doing our due diligence over the years, we have looked at it and said, well, would we save money if we did it this way or that way? And we would be irresponsible if we didn't look at all our options. But anytime these things have come up, you still are going to be paying taxes if you have somebody else provide your police services. And one of the things that people around the village really like is having this community policing and this small private force. It is in unusual circumstances. Let's all understand that. You don't find so many municipalities of our size with their own police. But it is what the residents want. And as long as if this is what that residents want this in the majority, we're going to do our best to keep this village afloat and keep those police here. If in the future, if the residents change their sentiment, the board could possibly, well, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but there is no intention to get rid of the police. It's what the residents want, and it's why we support it. And I personally, as a resident, very much like having this small community police force, their quick response times, their courteous service, their professionalism. I mean, for me, I'm very happy having them as a resident. As a trustee, I listen to what other people say. And right now they say this is what they want. So I just wanted to put a kibosh on that rumor, wherever the hell it came from. I think that's pretty much it. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nick. Trustee Funchin, what do you have for us this evening?
To pick up on what Nick says about the police, I've met with each one of the officers and with the chief, and I'm very happy with each and every one of them. They're outstanding people and easy to talk to. It's truly community policing. To give you an idea, on the reports on December 3rd, approximately 12 a.m., police officer Tiernan was on patrol when he observed that a village road was blocked by a tree that had fallen. Officer Tiernan was able to clear the roadway on his own and get vehicle traffic going. On December 16th, police officer Buddy responded to a village resident on a report of an unknown male at the door. Upon arrival, police officer Buddy was able to speak to the male party who worked as a subcontractor for Con Edison. All information was checked and verified. That's happened a lot with Con Edison, with the people that they have. They contract out their work, and just my comment about it is not only does the police officer have to get involved in something, but because they contract their work out, in many places they've made a mess in this village. So I wouldn't consider Con Ed being very friendly in any way, shape, or form. And it's ridiculous that a police officer has to go run down if somebody is not properly identified, going up to somebody's house. What's going on here on December 19th, Officer Buddy responded to a domestic dispute at a village residence. But police officer Buddy was able to determine that nothing criminal occurred. Other resources were needed and provided. No further incidents reported. We saw what could happen in New York with in the last week, 2 weeks, to the 2 officers killed in such a domestic fight. And you never know where it's going to prop up, because it could be anywhere. So I think that's one of the things that most police officers do not like to have to respond to, is domestic disputes, because as well known with the law enforcement people, as soon as they enter the door, they become the enemy of both peoples. On December 27th, police officer Rink responded to a report of a 911 call with no one on the other line. Upon arrival, police officer Rink was able to determine that no emergency response was needed. The call was accidental. Again, an indication of we have the police, that they can take care of all these issues that come up. And in this case, it was an accident, but as our mayor knows, that they were right on the scene when she got hurt. I've seen them living here right on the corner of Kings Ferry and Tate. I've seen their quick response to accidents. as there are probably more here than in other places. And finally, I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day, and enjoy the day with your loved ones. And that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Rich. Trustee Capicotti, what do you have for us today?
Gotta unmute yourself.
That would work.
Yeah, it happens.
I don't have much. Just to touch on the things like the village, like Nick said, there's a lot of good things going on in the village, and I'm excited to be a part of it. The ice skating rink is going to be interesting. We'll see what's going on, being that I have some kids that may want to be involved in that. I'm interested to see how that goes. The sewage thing going on. I'm familiar with the problems that the Montrose corridor has had a lot with the businesses there, and this could really help them, and it could really help us.
Mhm.
We could bring in some income, and it's a good thing. It really is. I mean, it's an asset having a treatment plant like we do, and I'm willing to take the tour.
Yes, it'll be exciting.
Wow, sounds really exciting. So, and of course, our DPW. I got to thank them on a wonderful job with the cleanup last week.
Yes.
It was, you drive around all through town and the roads are slushy and messy. You come through the village, spotless. So they do a good job. And, I'd like to wish Rich a happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. That's all for me. And you too, Sean.
Thanks, Cap.
You got it. All right, that's all for me.
Yeah, our highway department does do a good job, and you know what? It just helps them so much. You go to other communities, even just go to Peekskill, and there's parking on the street, so it just makes it impossible for the highway departments to really clean. And here, at least, there's no cars on the road. They can go curb to curb, so it just, it makes it easier for everyone. But yes, the city of Peekskill, I drove through, and there's still some roads that are pretty tough on the side, but that's because, people are parked during the storms on the road. Okay, Trustee Murray, what do you have for us tonight?
Just to let all the vets out there know, the VA has once again allowed veterans to come to their food pantry. The food pantry had a lot of hours of operation over the last 2 years. They have not allowed anybody to come in there, and there was some community outreach to try and get satellite offices to distribute food. But the VA is once again allowing vets to come to the pantry on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. or p.m., whatever you want to call it, noon. The pantry is very well stocked because they've had such a limited number of customers. It's been very difficult to get the food out. They have continued to accept donations, but they'd like to get this stuff to where it needs to go. So any vet who needs it, any vet who has a friend who would need it, you can pick it up for another vet. As long as you're a vet, you got an ID card, you can get into the VA, you can go over to the food pantry. If you guys don't know where the food pantry is, it's near the firehouse. So right across the street from the fire department is a parking lot. There's 3 designated parking spots for the food pantry, and you just go right into the building that you're parked in front of. And it'd be great if a lot of guys can start getting there. I don't know if a lot of the elected.
I'm sorry, Sean, could you explain where that is again? Where
It's in the Montrose VA. It's at the food pantry for veterans inside the Montrose VA. What's your question, Nick?
Exactly where that location is, opposite the firehouse?
Yeah, when you go in to the VA, they still have a separate COVID entrance. So as you're going in, right past the boiler building, the next entranceway is the entrance to the area of the fire department and the pool. The first passageway you go under is the entranceway towards the food pantry. It's right down that hall.
Oh, okay,
So
great.
you'll see there's an
Thank you.
overhang in there. So if you know any
Thank
vet who
you.
has a veteran's ID who can get in there, you go in
Yeah.
there during those hours and they'll give you anything you want, basically.
Oh, great,
Did they
okay.
change that again? Because the last time I was there dropping food from the village, because we used to have a container downstairs, but because of COVID, there weren't many people coming in. But they wanted me to go not under that first thing. I had to go straight, and there was a back door where they wanted us to drop the food off.
Yeah, that's if you had large deliveries, you could have
Okay.
carried it over there. Whenever I have a full truck, I go to that rear entranceway, but that rear entranceway is not where you would get the food. That's the
No,
back
no,
door
yeah,
to
you're
the
right.
pantry. So
Okay.
directly opposite of that door you're talking about is the front door to the pantry where they have the
Okay.
counter and you would sign the book and you talk to the attendant and they would give that to you. So.
Yeah. Because the village for years, we had a special container downstairs and we collected for the pantry too. So, and is it my friend Duke Searles is still in charge?
Duke's still
there?
running it. He has several volunteers.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
good
and-
people.
and
Good
Duke
people.
was instrumental in having the Veterans Administration allow them to come, people to come back in because
Good.
a lot of the places still locked down when it comes to
Yeah.
visitors and things like that.
Good.
Well, can we put that bin back out? I mean, we can make a little note in the newsletter
We
that
could.
donations will be accepted and the bin will be in the, you can come into the common area there without going into the office to put something in.
Mhm. Yeah, we used to have it by the elevator.
Yeah, I mean, is there any
Yeah.
reason we can't put it back
Yeah,
out?
you can put it back out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Another thing, I don't know if everybody's been aware in the news, New York State is debating whether to enact a new tax on carbon emissions, carbon dioxide emissions. I was wondering if the village would entertain the elected officials writing a letter to our representatives in the state to oppose this carbon tax. This
Mhm.
carbon tax isn't just on your gasoline, it's on your fuel oil, it's on your electricity, it's on your natural gas, it's on your gasoline, it's on everything. Okay, this carbon tax is kind of vague on where this money would go. It's kind of a global distribution of funds. The only thing that it does say is that a portion of it will go to pay the utility bills of disadvantaged people. Now, that may be a noble effort, and maybe the state could have gotten that tax money to distribute that in different ways. I don't think taxing everybody's fuel oil and natural gas and everything that's not solar or wind by putting a tax on it, it just makes it harder for the rest of us. So if you guys wanted to go on, I forgot what the bill number was, but it's
Oh.
been in the news a lot. You could just go to New York State, say carbon tax. It's being
Okay.
debated right now for the next legislative session. And
Okay.
it's approximately 6 cents a gallon just on your gasoline. And how it's calculated for natural gas and fuel oil, one can only guess. But we don't really, especially if somebody's commuting, it's just going to bring up the prices of everything of your truck delivery. So I think we should band together and oppose this tax for our residents.
Marcus, could you do us a favor and look for that tax? I don't know if NICOM would have any information on it, and then this way the board could
Review it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem. I'll get that information. I'll see if Steve Nycom is opposing it as well, because sometimes they send a joint letter for all the
Right.
mayors. So
Yeah.
I'll find that information and get back to you.
The
All
bill
right,
is
great.
about 120 pages long. So it's one of those ones that are so global and so confusing that nobody can understand it,
And they
Oh.
bury a lot of stuff in there.
Is-
Yep.
Do they,
especially for around 66% of its
Yeah.
disbursements.
do they make a Cliff Notes?
Yeah, another thing I'd like to bring up is I wanted to thank, I forgot who took down the no parking signs on Broadway. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2018 and 2019, I had questioned why no parking signs were hammered to telephone poles on Blakely Avenue. Really couldn't get too much of an answer, but thankfully Shane had gone and looked through the legislation and found that, yes, there was no legislation passed to put those traffic control devices up, and they have since been removed. And I'm not sure if the police did it or the highway. Do you know who did that, Marcus? Was it Shane or was it?
Nope, it was Bob. Bob took them all down.
Okay, great. That's great. Also, wanted to thank the building department. They had Save a Tree remediate all of their illegal dumping that they were doing. I don't know if you guys remember, a few years back, I had asked somebody to look into that, and it has been looked into, you know, even though it was 3 or 4 years later, it's been remediated, the stuff has been taken out, and the site is being used as per site plan that was approved back in, I want to say probably around 2007 or 2008. It's unfortunate it took so long, but you know, government does work slowly, but we've been able to get that remediated. And Nick, one of the reasons why somebody might have misconstrued your position on the police department was because at the caucus, when one of a resident had asked why we still have a police department, and you guys got into a little discussion back and forth, your response was, you know, you're open to discussion on whether we could have a police department, that you'd be open to public hearings and even even a referendum on the future of the police department. So maybe that could be how.
Okay, maybe.
So, and you know, to me,
But
I wouldn't request I wouldn't
Good.
request a public a bond referendum or a public referendum on the police department because I want them. And if that's, you know, I don't think that something so important to the public safety should even go up for a referendum, because as you know, a lot of people don't vote. You know, even if the elections were changed to a different time, you're only going to get maybe 30-40% of the people to come out. And I think as something that's so important, it shouldn't be left to happen. So that could be how it was misconstrued.
Okay, well, it is quite important. And what I did say to her was that in the past, when we've questioned it, we got overwhelming support from the community. And what I've said there is just in line with responding to the public. Nobody's going to have a vote because 1 or 2 people say, let's have a vote on this. But if we had 100 people coming out and saying why we have a police department, I mean, all I'm talking about is responding to the public. We're not putting this on the ballot at any time soon. You know, I don't think as long as the village finances stay solid, I don't see it happening. All I'm saying there is that we respond to the public, basically. I'm no intention of putting anything on the ballot. It's not something I would want to do or could do by myself anyway.
Well, I know that you couldn't do it by yourself, but you said you were willing to have it on the ballot. So that's good. That could be how. And I understand
If the public overwhelmingly requested it, yes. I'm not right now in responding to the public. There's absolutely no way we would not support our police. All I'm saying is in the future, if that changed, we would have to listen to what people had to say. We have to listen to the residents on both sides at all times.
And I was that's really all I have. One thing I was wondering if at the next maybe workshop meeting we could go over a preliminary budget. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of changes coming into a lot of revenue changes since we have the state calculations, and we have a basic framework of what our revenue is going to be and what our expenditures are going to be. So maybe we can get a preliminary budget if you guys wanted to just discuss it in an executive session or an open session, just some roundabout numbers. Because like I said, I believe Marcus has the calculation for the state fund that we're going to be getting. Correct, Marcus?
The cessation fund?
Yes, I have the amount for the cessation fund, yes.
So, and we do have the changes in the recreation fund for the employment. So I think we have enough numbers together to get a good estimate. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And one of the good things for this budget, fortunately, with the intervener, when we did the intervener status, at least we have the security of knowing for this year, the June 1st budget, that we have $1.2 million coming from Holtec. So that gives us some security so that we have a little time to still negotiate with Holtec. 2 things for me. One is I'd like to set up a special meeting for the planner this month to discuss the rezoning of the IP property. So this is his first meeting he'll be with us. I know he's had some preliminary discussions with Holtec. They were very constructive discussions. So I'd like him to come. He's available. If you guys could just give me a date, what works for you is the 23rd or the 24th. Does everybody have a calendar in front of them?
Of February? 22nd?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wednesday or Thursday, I'm available.
Okay.
That should be fine. One of those, either
Pick a
one of
day,
those.
it's fine. Sure.
Either day is fine. How are you, Ann? Are you okay?
Unmute yourself, Anthony.
Okay.
I'm looking at the calendar now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm free.
Okay, good. We're all free.
Yeah, what is that? A Wednesday or a Thursday, right?
Yeah. Which day do you guys prefer? Wednesday?
Well, we have a board meet, we have the workshop on the 22nd. So should we take a day off in between maybe? And do the 24th?
This is up to you guys, but I might have to take the 24th off. My mother-in-law is going to a surgery. And,
So the 23rd. 23rd.
I mean, you don't need me there. I mean, you have to
We-
consult there without me. It's up to you.
Yeah, you're not getting out of this one, the 23rd.
No way. Yeah,
Thank you.
23rd. Okay, thank you. If you could let David know that.
I will. Thank you.
The other thing I'd like to speak to everyone, just as Nick has heard things, I would just like to comment on the wall out at the circle. Let me just first say that the money was given to us from Entergy. So the wall did not cost the village anything. The wall is not finished. We are not finished yet at all. We were able, Bob and the highway department was able to install the flagpole. So I'm very happy to finally see a flagpole out at the circle. So that's installed. The wall is not completed. We have the opportunity to straighten some things out, but also the most important thing is the weather got cold. We could not finish what we needed to do, and we could not do the landscaping of it. So it's not going to look like that. There's still plants that will be going in installed there. So it's still a work in progress. So as I ask everyone, please be patient. That is not the end product. So that's all I have for everyone this evening. And then comments from the floor.
Can I just say before we go to
Oh,
that,
sure. Go
just
ahead, Nick.
quickly,
Go ahead.
so that meeting on the 23rd is regularly like our 7:30 meeting or 7 or?
Yeah, we could do, I mean, if, you know, we have to advertise it yet. So what is the board's pleasure? I mean, if you guys.
7 or
wanna do-
7:30, whatever, it's fine with me either way,
All
as
right.
long as we, you know, we advertise it so we
Yeah,
can have it. But also I wanted to ask, with the code review, I sent in, I know we need to have a meeting regarding the
yes.
code review to discuss that. And I sent in my comments, the office staff scanned them in and everyone had that emailed. And I see that the scans, I don't know if it was a pen I was using or what it was, but some of the stuff is a little unclear. So if anybody can't read anything, I would, you can just shoot me an email or give me a buzz, whatever, if you need clarification on what that is. There are a few things in there that basically the board has to just discuss and agree on,
Okay,
and that other people might have to, I made notes where I thought we might need the building inspector's input, or the board has to discuss it and agree, you know, so, you know, whenever anyone gets a chance to look at that, if you can't read anything, just let me know and I'll clarify what it says. It's a little faint. A couple of the things I wrote are a little faint.
okay. So I know Sean has gotten his in.
Yeah.
Nick, you've submitted yours. We just have a few other sections that just have to be completed yet. And that.
Yeah,
will-
I actually pulled out a few sections aside from this chapter 211 that I said I would do, just because they were things that were on my mind or that caught my attention.
Okay. All right. Well, keep letting things get your attention. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do need another meeting for that, is that?
Yes, we do. We have to set up a separate meeting. So we'll discuss that at the workshop, the
Okay.
February workshop. Okay.
Okay,
And then we can set a date for that too.
okay.
Okay, so comments from the floor. Do we have any comments from the floor? Because we're gonna have to go into executive session, but I want to, oh, okay, Eileen. Absinger.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Nick, I wanted to tell you that Stephanie quoted the commercial liberty to solicit was why you could not have a group for not coming to their house for the solar company.
Say that again, Eileen?
It was called commercial liberty to solicit. That was
Yeah.
why you couldn't have the list of who didn't want them to come.
That's pretty interesting. So what about these these telephone do not call lists that they used to have? Does that
I have-
violate this commercial liberty?
I
What
know, but
about
I'm not the lawyer. I'm just telling you from my
I know,
notes at the
no,
workshop.
I appreciate you saying that. It's just making me think about the do not call list, which, is a similar type thing on the phone. Anyway, you certainly have a right to not answer the door.
Right, okay. But I want to go back
Thanks.
to the workshop. And I want to go back to, Nick had brought up Code of Conduct, Section 7-5A2. It had to do with an official that would not be able to be in on any kind of pilot, for this example, because they were employed by the company.
Mhm.
So my question is, Teresa sent the letter to the Westchester County Board of Ethics,
Mhm.
okay? And they will come back with a decision, what did I call it?
Conflict of
Opinion.
interest determination?
Yeah, it's an opinion.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
an opinion. It wasn't a decision, or it wasn't, something set in stone. So will that be back before the election?
I'm hoping they're meeting this month. I'm hoping this month.
Or can we encourage them anyway to really get that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's really,
No, I
it's
know.
important
know.
for a
I
fair
know it is.
election to occur. For a fair election to occur, I
Mhm.
think it's important for that piece of information
Okay.
to be disseminated to the residents as voters.
Mhm. It's just,
Um,
it's hard, when you deal with the county or deal with any of these other agencies, they move at their own speed.
Okay, so when they come back with this decision,
Mhm.
what happens at this juncture with the board then?
I will read the decision and it's just an advisory. They will say, whether it's a conflict of interest, for the trustee to have any input or any discussion in the negotiations with Holtec. That's it. There's no charges that are filed. It's just an advisory opinion.
Okay, with the advisory opinion, is it up to the trustee or whomever the official is to recuse or to allow him or herself to stay on for the decision?
Yes. They would have to make that decision at that point. So there's no teeth to it. They would have to make a decision at that point if they would still, still participate or not.
Okay, and does that give the official the opportunity or the ability, timing, to be able to either write a letter to the Board of Ethics or to secure their position in regards to wanting to stay on for the decision or the vote, or to recuse themselves?
No, it's just an opinion, Eileen. So it's not
Okay.
like where they would say, you must not participate, you must participate, you must not participate. It's an opinion. We are
Okay.
just asking for their opinion on what their thought is on that subject.
Okay, then it would be up to the official who's
Yeah.
in question to make a decision.
Correct.
Okay, and
Yeah,
would that
that's
be would that decision or option be given at a board meeting, village board, or a workshop?
It could be either. It depends when it comes in.
All right, so if it comes in before March 1st, can you make that known to the public voters?
Yeah, I would first give it to the trustee first with the opinion.
Oh, I agree. I just wanted to know if the voters would be, they would be able to hear the decision. That's all.
Eileen, I have asked the mayor for a copy of that letter. She told me last week she would give me one. She told me she had already given it to me. I went into Village Hall and I asked Marcus for a copy of the correspondence that should be foilable because it's from an elected official about another elected official to another elected official. So all it is should be public record and it should be able to be obtained, especially for the person that's being involved with. And I had also asked that when they do hear this, that I have a chance to speak with them also. Because as you know, one side, there's two sides to every story. So I would like to start out by at least getting a copy of the request, which I
Right,
have
no,
not
I
been
had-
able to obtain.
Sean,
no, I
nothing
did-
came out of the village office. It all went to the county board of ethics. So there's
Sorry,
nothing
what'd you say?
filed. There's nothing filed in the village. The request that I had for the opinion went to the county board of ethics. So
Absolutely.
it wasn't filed in the village because it's just an opinion.
Well, if I could see the letter, because if you sign it as mayor, that's an official correspondence that is.
Yes,
should be
I'll get it to you. I was looking for it the other day. I've been a little busy with the negotiations and, with the sewer treatment plant, with Holtec. There's been a lot going on, but I will get it to you. I will
and
look for it, because this goes back to October, November. So I'll look through all my sent files and I will get it.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
When I brought this up at the last workshop, I mean, I also, and I still feel this way, question why it's even had to go to the county, because our code is extremely clear. If you're an employee for any corporation within any kind of interest in professional dealings with the village, that the officer or employee has to disclose to the village trustees in writing what their position is, and that they have to disqualify themselves from acting in any official capacity regarding these matters. It's very clear in our code. So that aside, fine, we'll get the opinion from the county and take it into consideration. But I also want to point out that you're talking about sending a letter this past fall. Also, when at the workshop, a couple of people, Sean and Anthony, both said that it seemed a little funny, my timing in bringing this up. But I want to refer you back to the May 25th workshop where this was discussed. So this was brought up very shortly after you were on the board. This is not something that came out of left field. What's new here is the discussions on the Holtec pilot agreement, tax agreement. So, there is some reason why it came back now, in addition to being made aware of how specific the wording is in the code there. So, but
That's fine. I can appreciate that. I'm sure in all this correspondence, you guys noted that I did not work for Holtec. My employer was Comprehensive Decommissioning Incorporated, which is a subsidiary of a Canadian company. So it's a little bit different. But, I would just like to have a copy of it. And
Sure.
that's okay.
Yeah, and I understand, Sean, too, that Holtec is no longer going to be dealing with CDI pretty soon. It's like the CDI employees are now going to be Holtec employees.
Last week.
Oh, it was
So
last week. Okay.
all it is, everything you're talking about, it only happened a couple of days ago.
Oh,
So
okay. All right.
everything that you guys were, all the other previous concerns, I wasn't employed by them.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I just wanted clarification on the
Sure.
decision that comes back from the ethics board.
Okay. Thanks, Eileen.
Congratulations to everybody who worked on all the monies that came in, the ice skating rink and police EPA and employee EPA program. I'm thrilled. I'm very happy. So congrats to everybody. And I'll see you at the workshop.
Oh, I thought you said we were going to see you at the skating rink.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
I don't
we'll
know.
see.
Okay.
All
Thanks,
right.
Eileen.
Thanks, Eileen. All right. Anyone else have anything?
Yeah, I have one thing.
Sure.
As It's a little strange to be on a computer right now. Normally, I would get up out of the chair and go over and talk at the podium as a citizen, because I want to speak as a citizen, not as an elected official. And I spoke to Marcus, and he thought that this would be the best way to do it. I just wanted to congratulate everybody for being nominated by their individual parties and who are going to be running for election. You know, as I had said in a caucus, that it's very difficult to get people to run, and both parties have a full slate of what I think are good people who have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. And I look forward to this campaign. On that here, I like, in one of my first times running for mayor, I did enjoy debating. I enjoyed speaking at the editorial board. The village did have a couple of debates, televised debates. So I would like to be able to speak with you, Mayor, and have a debate with you, something that could be broadcast on TV like it has in the past, open to any date. I have several dates,
Okay,
February.
but you're speaking as a citizen,
Yeah.
but as a mayoral candidate, you're setting up a debate.
I would like
I
to
don't know, how
challenge
does
you
that
to a
work?
debate, that's all.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how
Well,
that
as
works.
I'd be standing at the podium, I would be asking you for a debate, that's all.
Okay, but you're running as a mayoral
That's correct.
candidate, so you're.
Yeah,
in
to run
that-
against you,
you're-
so me and you
you're
can have a
wearing-
debate on the
You're
issue.
wearing that hat.
Say again?
And when we have these meetings, Sean, so please don't tell me that you you're wearing your citizen hat when you're on the board and you're running as a mayoral candidate. So when we come to these board meetings, this is what we discuss here. We discuss village business. We make decisions for the residents.
Yes,
It's about the village.
yes,
It's not about politics.
yes.
So I believe personally that it's an inappropriate time to ask for a debate. I think it's very inappropriate. We're on the clock right now doing village business. So not sure. So we will have this
that's why-
discussion, we will have this discussion offline. And then, you know what? Get whatever dates you have, get those together. We will set something up.
I can give you.
But
the
I
dates
just
right
think
now.
it's inappropriate.
That's why I asked the
this-
administrator how other communities do it and what he felt was
Okay.
best, because as you know, in the past, we get up, we remove ourselves from the dais and go to the
Mhm.
podium. So
Okay.
February 17th, 18th, March 4th, March 8th, March 11th, all at 7 PM would be great, or any other
Okay.
day, at any time at 7 PM or 3
Okay,
PM.
send me those dates.
Sure,
Okay,
okay.
thanks.
And, this is not something that should be discussed at a meeting. It's a campaign, it's the politics, it's not the village business. But I will point out that when we had those debates, they were run by the League of Women Voters
Mhm.
as an independent, objective, third party. So, keep that in mind. I don't know how, usually you need that independent party to monitor a debate. But I don't think we should be discussing this any further
Okay.
at a board meeting.
I just want to reiterate, I did check with the administrator prior, what he thought was the best course of action. I didn't do it, out of a gotcha or anything like that. I had,
Mhm.
so, okay, that's all, and that's all, thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, so if there's no other comments from the floor, I'd like to go into executive session to discuss personnel and negotiations.
Make a motion to enter into executive session, discuss personnel negotiations.
Can I have a
Second,
Second, all in favor?
All right,
Aye, thank you.